Yup, sure. Don't listen to the guy who operates the machinery. F around and find out, I guess. So I work in a metal fabrication plant. We build all sorts of stuff there. But mostly we build elevator and farming equipment parts. I'm stationed in the finishing department where we do powder coating. And my job is to operate a large industrial oven that melts the powder coat into a solid coat. However, our system is subpar at best. There are so many little things wrong with everything that, if fixed, would make our whole area so much more efficient. One problem we constantly keep running into is cross-contamination. Part A is supposed to be X color. But because Part B was also being coated with Y color, they both come out of the oven all speckled and gross. Some companies we work with couldn't care less. But we have two companies who are really picky about how the parts look when they're finished. One day, we had come in for overtime on a Saturday. And I noticed that the speckle problem was especially bad. And so I started looking for the cause. As all of those parts now had to be redone. And the goal of catching up for the next week had now been ruined. At first, I thought my oven was dirty. But that couldn't have been it. Because I cleaned it that morning. And had done a thorough deep clean a few days prior. Then I thought maybe the parts had been sitting beside the oven for too long while I waited for space to put them in. But that typically wasn't an issue. So I put that one on hold. Then I thought maybe I had put them too close together. So I decided to let one color cycle all the way through the oven before putting in the next color. But it still came out speckled. At this point, I knew it couldn't have been something I was doing wrong. So I went over to the powder coating area to investigate. And I immediately found the problem. They were using both booths at the same time, coating two different colors. And there was an air current blowing yellow powder into the black powder booth. Mystery solved. I immediately notified my supervisor about what was happening. And told her we probably shouldn't be coating two different colors at the same time. Because all of the parts are coming out bad. But she told me that there was no way that was the issue. And that it had to be something I was doing wrong. But I had just checked everything that had previously been a cause of speckles. And I knew for a fact that this couldn't be the case. So I hatched up a plan. I waited until the oven was completely empty again. And I pulled her aside and said, "Alright, you see that? The oven is completely empty. And you watched me clean it this morning. So you and I are gonna do a little wager. I bet you this week's entire paycheck that even though there are absolutely no yellow parts currently inside that oven, that these black parts are gonna come out yellow anyways. And they'll be coming straight from the booth. They won't be sitting out exposed to any debris. They'll just go straight in. And they'll still be yellow anyways." She thought this idea was absolutely ridiculous. And saw absolutely no reason how she could ever be wrong. Despite the fact that she knows nothing about how the oven system works. And she took the bet. 45 minutes later, the parts come out. And would I know, the black came out yellow. Turns out that sometimes the people who operate the machinery know more about said machinery than those who have never touched it. TLDR. My supervisor thought I was doing my job wrong. I bet her the entire next paycheck that I was actually right. She took the bait and I won. But did she pay up? In my younger days I was once a ride operator at a theme park. I ended up being one of the only ones trained on the flagship roller coaster. So I was stuck there for days on end. When you're sat there for hours you get to know every single vibration, noise, even temperature coming from the ride. One day, I started noticing an unusual vibration when the train went up the lift hill. I called control and asked them to send an engineer. He arrived and just dismissed me. I called it in the next day. Don't notice anything. Day after same thing. I then refused to open it and said there's something wrong with it. I was pretty much told to just open it and get on with it. 2 days later, I was told the ride was not opening as during the morning engineering checks the gearbox in the lift hill motor had obliterated itself and caused extensive damage. Was closed for a couple months. The real question is, did she pay up? Retired elevator mechanic here, and that makes a lot of sense. I'm guessing you did elevator door frames and doors. I work in manufacturing, and because of the type of product we make, we have to be really picky about how the pieces look, are. A few years ago we had a lot of washers that were dark and rough on one side. The parts had to be pulled, and all the pieces made before this was caught had to be held thousands until they were evaluated by engineering and deemed safe to ship out. I hope she paid you. Did she pay you the week's pay? I hate that they have people supervising jobs they don't understand. It's moronic.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.